Kendall here with Lousy Llama Creations. Today we're going to be making this adorable little penguin with this adorable little scarf. For this project you're going to need medium weight for yarn in purple, white, yellow, 10mm safety eyes, stuffing, tapestry needle, stitch marker, scissors, and a 5mm crochet hook. Bonus points if you have 2 cats for helping. They're not very helpful, but they will be making appearances in the video today. Also, if you're following from one of my crochet kits, you have enough yarn to make 2 penguins. One's purple, one's another random color, so you can make 2 of them. I'm so excited to be making this pattern with you today. If you have any questions, don't forget to comment down below. You can slow down the video with the gears, and please reach out if you have any comments or concerns or you need help. I'm here for you. Let's jump right into the video. To start our penguin, we're gonna start at the top with our magic ring or magic circle, or just a way that we're going to start our piece. I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to hold it in my hand, so this is the tail, it's like the cutoff end, the very end of the yarn. I'm going to wrap it around my hand and hold in the middle. And then I'm going to take my hook and go under, over, and I'm going to pull this through. Just like that. I'm going to hold it and then pull it off my hand. This is the yarn attached to the ball. So I'm going to tighten it and then do something called a chain, which is when we're going to pull our yarn through our loop. So we place the yarn on top of the hook and pull through. And that's a magic ring. Let me show you again. This can be a little tricky for some people, and that's okay. It might take you a few times. You might want to look up a different tutorial if the way I'm explaining it doesn't make sense. I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel in which you can see other projects. Almost all of them start with magic rings. And I try to explain it just a little bit different each time so you can figure out what works for you. So again, I have my tail, or I'll wrap around to make that X. Hold in the middle. Go under, over, and pull through. Pull it off your hand, and then do your chain 1. Sorry about that. My cat Peanut really likes to help with video tutorials, so she's helping out and sometimes bumps into the camera. I'm now going to do 6 single crochets. A single crochet is our basic stitch that we're going to use for a majority of our penguin. I'm going to insert my hook through the middle, and I'm going to be putting my actual stitches on these 2 pieces of yarn. Thanks, Peanut. I'm going to place my yarn on top of my hook. This is called a yarn over, and then pull through 1. So you have 2 loops on your hook. Then yarn over again. I'm twisting my hook down and pulling through. And that's 1 single crochet. So again, I'm going to place in the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. And that's our second. I'll do 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can count each stitch, which is like this little V. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to tighten by pulling the tail. So then you have this little circle. I'm going to place my stitch marker, which is that little safety pin looking thing, in the last stitch that I made, stitch number 6. And that's round 1. For round 2, it says we're going to do 6 increases. An increase is just 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So we currently have 6 stitches. At the end of round 2, we'll have 12 because we're placing 2 in each one. Make sure you don't crochet with the tail and you're crocheting with the yarn that's attached to the ball. I'm continuing to work in the same direction. I'm not turning back or anything, just keep on working around. I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch under the whole V, so under both lines, and do a single crochet. Make a second, but we need to put it in the same stitch. So I'm going to make sure it's still in that number 1 stitch from round 1. There we go. And I'm going to move on to the next stitch and repeat the same thing of 2 single crochets. And then again. In the last one, I like to remove the stitch marker and then add my stitches. I think it's just a little easier to have that marker out of the way. And then put the marker back in to the last stitch we made. For the next round, we're going to place 1 single crochet and then an increase. So it's going to be a little series of 3. So in the next stitch, we'll do 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch, we'll put 2. So that's 1, and then a double. 1, and then a double. And we'll do this for the whole round. You'll find with crochet, it's a lot of repetition, a lot of patterns, so it makes it a little easier. And remember, at any point, if I'm going too fast, you can pause this video. You can also slow it down in the settings. That little gear button will allow you to slow it down. And you can also rewind and do what you need to. If you're following from one of my crochet kits, all kits come with a full PDF that has lots of pictures and step-by-step how to do each stitch as well as your specific pattern. So it might help to look at that as well. I like to have my pattern up while I'm following a video tutorial. We're at the end of the round, add my marker back in. The next round, instead of 1 and then a double, we'll do 1, 1, double. So single, single, and then an increase. So here's 1, hop to the next stitch, 2, and then an increase. So that's a series of 4. 1, 1, increase. And we'll do that for the whole round. For the next round, I bet you can guess if the previous round was 1 single crochet and then an increase, and then we did 2 and then an increase. Bet you can guess the next one's going to be 3 and then an increase. So we're going to do 1 into the next stitch, 2 into the next one, 3, and then an increase. And then we'll do that for the whole round. The next 10 rounds are going to be a little different. This is as wide as our piece is going to get. I'm gonna add my stitch marker into the side of the stitch, just make it a little easier on ourselves. For the next 10 rounds, you're gonna place 1 single crochet into every stitch. So there's no increases, there's no decreases. It's just 1, 1, 1, all the way around. And when you get around, you don't have to move this up. You'll just keep on going around and around for 10 times. And you can see your start just by looking up in the direction. This is how our piece is actually gonna get nice and tall, because right now we have this, but then at the end of the 10 rows, or 10 rounds, you'll have this nice little body. It would be incredibly boring to watch me do this on camera, so I'm going to pop off and do this for 10 rounds. I just finished my 10 rounds. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit just so I have some wiggle room, but we have to add our eyes. So I'm gonna take my eyes and I'm gonna place them on. I like my eyes a little further apart on the penguin. So I have those in. And then I'm gonna add the backs. Normally the backs are supposed to go on flush like this, but if you're struggling with that, go ahead and turn it the other way and push. I do that for both eyes, and he still doesn't look like a penguin, but we're now going to work on closing up the body, and then we can add all those details that's really going to make it look like what it's supposed to be. I'm going to move my stitch marker up to the last stitch I made, and we're going to start decreasing. We're going to single crochet 3 and then do a decrease. So I'm going to do my 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease, which is stitching 2 stitches together. So I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. So you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So again, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. So insert, yarn over, pull through, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And I'm going to repeat this for the round. The next round is going to be similar. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then a decrease. We're basically doing the opposite of what we did to make it bigger. We're just making it smaller. So 1, 2, and then a decrease. And that will be our sequence. We're going to do this all the way around. Next round is going to be 1 single crochet and then a decrease. I'll do this all the way around. Before we do our last round, I'm going to take out my hook and add my stitch marker into the loop, just so it doesn't come undone. And then we're going to stuff it. The trick to stuffing is that you want to pull it in small clumps and then place it a little bit at a time. This will help create a fuller look that doesn't use as much stuffing. So I'm just placing it around. I want him to look nice and round, nice and full, just like penguins do, or cartoon penguins nonetheless. If you're following from a kit, I usually add more stuffing than necessary, so don't feel obligated to use it all. I'm gonna keep on going. Always looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit more in this back. Yeah, I'm kind of shaping it from the outside. Oh, he looks nothing like a penguin, but he's cute nonetheless. gonna take out my marker and I'm not gonna put it back in because now I'm just gonna count in my head. We're gonna do 6 decreases. You'll wanna make sure you're pulling nice and tight just because we're right at the bottom. And you have to try not to get the stuffing into it, but it's okay if you do. I like push down the stuffing and then work on the stitches. So that was 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm gonna fasten off, which is what we call cutting our yarn. So we're gonna cut it, leave a fair amount, and then pull your hook so it goes all the way through. You still got a little hole in the bottom, so I'm gonna put my tapestry needle, or my tail through my tapestry needle, and I'm gonna sew this closed. A bunch of different ways to do it. I like to go through the outside. If you wanna go across, you can do that too. Doesn't matter as long as you close it up. And yes, those are Peanut's feet. She's very helpful today. Pull nice and tight, nice and closed. I'm gonna place a knot right at the end. And I missed, so I'm gonna do another knot closer to the edge. Perfect. You don't just want to like cut your yarn because then it can come undone. So I'm going to take it, poke it right next to where we just came out, and then poke out somewhere else. And then cut that. And now we have our perfect little blob. To make the belly, we're going to do it basically the exact same way as the top of the penguin, but just not quite as big. So I'm going to start with my magic ring. Don't forget to pause this video and go back to the very beginning for a little slower explanation. But to help this video from becoming too long, I'm going to show a little quicker version. Do my chain 1, and then my 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull tight. And then add my stitch marker. Next round is going to be 6 increases for a total of 12 stitches. So going in the first stitch, I know it's a little hard to see white on white. I'm going to do my increase, which is the 2 single crochets in every stitch. I'm going to do this all the way around. Our last round, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then an increase. So at the end, you should have 18 stitches. So here's 1. The next stitch, we'll do our increase. Easy peasy because you've already done it on the base of the penguin. This is as big as our belly's going to get. If you want to make it a little rounder, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. That's called a slip stitch. I like to do that to make my circles rounder. Leave a long tail, cut, fasten off, and now we have our little belly. For our wings, it's going to be very similar. I told you crochet is a lot of repetition and patterns. I'm going to do my magic ring, chain 1, 6 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to pull it, and then the next round I'm going to do 6 increases, just like we've done all the other times. For the next 2 rounds, we're going to place 1 single crochet in every stitch. So in my head, I just count 1, and I'm gonna go all the way to 24. 3, 4. Now we're going to leave a long tail because we're gonna use it for sewing. Cut it, pull through, and then I'm flattening it. This is our middle tail from our magic ring. I want to cut it. Don't cut it too close because it will come undone. Just a little bit, and then flatten it so I have a wing. You're going to want to make 2 of these. I'm also going to cut the tail a little bit on our belly, just so we don't have to worry about it. And then we're going to start assembling. I'm going to put this nice long white tail on my tapestry needle. I'm going to place the belly where I want it. And I'm going to hold it and stitch it. There's about 100 different ways to sew pieces on. I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter as long as your pieces don't come undone. So if you have experience with embroidery, you might feel pretty comfortable with this. If not, and you're like, I just feel like I should take the tail and kind of go in and out of the body and the belly, you are absolutely right. I like to go from the belly to the body and then up only through the belly. I find this makes it nice and clean. Peanut's trying to get my soda over here, so excuse me if I stop for a little bit. I'm going to do this all the way around, and then I'll show you how to hide your tail. Because we don't want to just cut it. Why? Because we don't want it to come undone. But let me first go all the way around and finish sewing. I'm on my last one, so I'm going to poke through the white and then out to the bottom. Because we're using a different color, we really want to make sure we poke out the bottom so that no one sees it. I'm going to cut it, and then you can shove it down with your scissors if it sticks out a little bit. To do our wing, it's even easier because it's the same color as the body. So it'll be easy peasy for you. Because it doesn't matter if it's messy stitching or not, because it's all the same color, no one's going to see it. I'm going to hold my wing on the side, and then I'm going to go on the body and the wing, making sure to get through both layers of the wing because we flattened it. Because you don't want a little pocket, you want a wing. So I just like to make sure I'm going through both layers. I'm going to go all the way down. Perfect. And then this one doesn't matter as much because it's purple on purple. And cut. We want to do this for the other wing. To add our beak and our feet, I'm going to cut a nice long piece of yellow yarn. Put it on my tapestry needle. I'm going to poke out either through the back or the bottom, doesn't matter which, but then to one corner of where you want the beak. Might take a little bit to kind of poke around, figure out where it's coming. I'm going to pull almost all the way through, but leave a tail so it doesn't come undone. And then I'm going to draw a nice straight line. And I'm going to go and repeat this a few times so that our beak is nice and full and not just one little straight line. So I'm literally just going back and forth making a straight stitch. And I'm going to do this a bunch so that the beak's as big as I want it, and as full and as like sticking out 3D that I want it. I like that. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to do his feet, in which we're going to repeat the exact same style. I just like to make sure my feet aren't as thick as the beak, but that's just a personal preference of making things look different. This is where you can get a little creative. You can make your penguin look unique and perfect. I'm going to do the other foot. Adding these embroidery details is also really great for beginner stuffed animals and crochet projects, just because it doesn't require as much skill, but you can still add those details that really brings your little animal to life. That's my last one. Stretch them out a little bit. At the bottom, you technically want to poke it out the same spot as your original tail is. And then I'm going to tie a little knot. I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to shove it back down. I still need to add this other wing, but let's make a scarf. I'm going to make a slip knot. So I have my tail. I'm going to twist and pull through. I'm going to insert my hook and pull tight. You don't want it too tight that it squeaks and like doesn't really remove. But you don't want it too loose that it falls off. We're then going to chain 60. So we're going to place our yarn on top of our hook and pull through. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're struggling, make sure to turn down your hook because this is going to get stuck. So you want to make sure you're turning down. You're going to repeat this until you have 60. I'm just making a mini scarf for an example, but once you have all 60, instead of continuing this direction, we're going to be going the other direction. You're going to skip that very first or the last chain that you made, the one closest to your hook. Ignore it and insert your hook into the next stitch. It doesn't really matter where you stick it in as long as it's in that chain. Experts will tell you it does matter. I'm here to tell you, if this is a beginner project, it doesn't matter because you know what? It's going to look very, very similar, if not exactly the same. Then we're going to do our single crochet. And then we're going to insert into the next chain. And the next one. And keep on doing single crochets into every single chain. Because we skipped that very last chain we made, if you had 60 chains and we skipped one, you're going to have 59 stitches. Because this is a scarf, it's okay if you're missing a few, if you skip a chain, place 2, it's totally okay, it doesn't matter either way. It's a beginner project, so I build my projects to have wiggle room for some beginner mistakes. You're going to do this all the way to the end. And again, your scarf is going to be longer than mine because I'm making just a little mini example. But let me show you how we're going to fasten off. So get all the way to the end. We're going to cut our yarn and pull through. Now for this, I added a little bit of white and red. Oh, I need a longer piece. I'm going to cut a piece of white. Going to add my white through my hook right in the middle, just like a little latch hook, and pull through. I highly recommend placing a knot for both tails of the red. Just make sure it doesn't come undone on you. You can cut it, and then using your tapestry needle, I like to spread out all the strands so it looks like little tassels because he needs a little tassel scarf. You could do the same thing on the other end. You'll just have to do a little latching to get red, white, red, or whatever little pattern you want. And that's how we have our little scarf and our little penguin. Thank you so much for joining me today to make this adorable little penguin. I hope you had a fantastic time. If you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and comment or reach out to me over email. If you need to send pictures, email is definitely the best way to do that. If you're following for my crochet kits, thank you so much. It just means the world to me that you purchased from my small business and you're supporting me, and this is my full-time job, so it really means everything to me. If If you're new here, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow and is able to provide more tutorials for everyone. Again, my name is Kendall. I'm from Las Llama Creations, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!